What is going on, guys? Thank you for joining Console Kids Podcast this week. Today, we're going to be talking about the leaks. That's right. Friends don't let friends buy risers is what they want you to believe. But here's the thing. I'm going to talk about the risers are sticking around, but it may not stick around the way we all think it will. I'm going to dive deep into that subject. I hope I will. I don't have that prepared, but I just came up with that. Anyway, so we're going to go through each leak that has come out recently and talk about each one, trace back where we know and found out about that leak and the probability of it actually coming out. I want to know your thoughts about each and every single one of the leaks. So if you're here in the live stream, make sure you say Time Crisis if we're talking about Time Crisis, Street Fighter if we're talking about Street Fighter, all of the different leaks, name them. But I want to say thank you for everyone who comes, especially those that come and hang out every week. If you're listening on the replay, and I do mean listening, if you're hanging out in the car, that's really cool. Thank you, Danny Davis, for stopping by. He says, totally a non-issue for me. Now, he's referring to the riserless design. I played the games for the fun of playing them. No one ever comes into my game room and says, gee, I'd love to challenge you on T2, but that riser, man. And that's a valid point, So here's my quick thoughts about, will Arcade1Up continue making risers? I think so, but it's going to be like the old days. They're going to sell the cab without a riser. And then you're going to have to buy a riser on its own. This is connected to something that we learned at CES, where they said they're going to sell cabinets without a riser for that $299 price at places like Walmart. So they keep on saying the risers are going to stay, but it feels like it means the risers are going away for the Legacy or for the Deluxe. They're basically baked in. They're included. And then if you want a riser, then you're going to buy a cabinet that may not, as of right now, the track record is the cabinets that don't have risers also don't have a light-up marquee. Typically don't have a coin door. Are they going to change that? Are they going to have a coin door on those options? But today we're going to talk about the leaks. Before we jump into this, a comment from Matt Asher Gaming. Thank you so much for commenting. He says, I'm on Team Riserless. I prefer the clean lines and the continuous artwork of the Deluxe cabinet bases. And I think what's really helping that out is those little screw hole cap covers. And if they can do that on all the machines and get it where the color is right, then I think it could work. For me, I'm not interested in buying any of them right now because none of them are out. And as they come out, they're going to be full price, $499. And I'm looking back at last year. I bought many cabs with cash. The only one I didn't was the Yoga Flame. That was a review cabinet. But every other cabinet that I bought, and some I bought, some I sold, were on deals. Those deals are out there. Will we get deals in 2023? I'm very curious. But so far, the titles are intriguing about the leaks, but we don't know all the details yet. But I'm going to share everything that I think is coming with some receipts. That's the plans tonight. Before we jump in, I want to give a shout out. Shout out to Kevin. Have you guys seen this? This is a big Buck Hunter mod. And this caused me to pause. I was like, wow, this might be the best Buck Hunter mod I have ever seen. Eat your heart out, B-Kong. Take a look at this design, the attention to detail. If you're Kevin and you're watching, great job. If you know who Kevin is, let him know that I shouted him out on this video. I just love this surface top area. Stringer Films did a big Buck Hunter mod, but it was like a projector. It's like a Buckjectorcade. It was like he took the Geek Worm, which allows you to get HDMI out on majority of the Arcade1Up cabinets. And what Matt Stringer did is he connected that to a projector, so then he's playing it on a big projector screen. What this guy did, I think, is really cool. It actually makes it kind of look more like the original, like the Golden Tee, with the stand-up and just the way it's on a pedestal. I think that entire design is really fantastic. So I wanted to give a shout-out to that. Also, if you're in the Des Moines metro area, on April 1st, we're having an auction. So April 1st, there's going to be an auction in Des Moines. So that means, if you're living in any state that surrounds Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, come on over to Des Moines April 1st at Valley West Mall. That's right off the freeway, I-235. These are the details on it. Come check it out. There's actually already on this particular auction, there's a couple pictures of some machines that are going to be available, it looks like, at the auction. So I'm excited about that. We got a Street Fighter. We got this Overdrive Donkey Kong. I'll be taking a look at that one. I don't own a Donkey Kong, but I want to know details of this machine. Is that an LCD? A lot of these pictures right here, I think from the same seller. And I think a lot of them are LCD machines. So here's like a Mortal Kombat. Looks like LCD machine. A Frogger. Then we got a Turtles. It's definitely, I see a lot of LCDs in Turtles and Simpsons in my area. We got this guy, a Joust. This looks pretty good. I'm very curious what this will be going for. And if you're not in the Midwest area, that's okay. So I'll be, at minimum, I'll do what I did last time, where I'll take pictures and film at the auction. And then that's on a Saturday. So then on the following day, Sunday, April 2nd, don't forget to hit subscribe. I'll be covering the auction. I'll talk about what all of these things went for. We had a lot of fun last time. I met a lot of fun people there at the auction. This I'm pretty interested in, this class of 1981. The Arcade1Up class of 1981 and the Deluxe are pretty nice, but I've been looking for the original for a while, and in my area, I can't find them. They're pretty expensive, maybe about $1,500, and since they're not available in my area, I'd have to pay about $500 to ship it on top of that. So we're talking like $2,000 to get this machine, where you can get an Arcade1Up for $400 or $500. But at this auction, I don't know how much you'll go for. I don't know if I'll buy it. It looks like it's an LCD. I don't know the shape of it. It's just a single picture. But Pac-Mans in my area sometimes go for cheap. I don't know if a lot of people want the Pac-Mans in my area. So I don't know. Maybe if this goes for $500, then maybe. But I probably wouldn't pull the trigger if it was $1,000. It's like, it'd be fun to have the original, but don't want to spend the extra money necessarily. They have the Simpsons as well. An off-road, I'm sorry. They have this at the arcade, but I'm curious how much, I don't know how much that'll go for, but I'm excited for it. And so that's what's going to happen at the auction. So let's jump right into the details of this video. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for coming to hang out. You think 850 is the sweet spot? Maybe. Okay, so let's break this down. We have the Fast and the Furious on the left. We have a Street Fighter Capcom. We're going to talk more about that. You were like, why has he got this weird half-breed, like, Mortal Kombat, and then the Big Blue, but it looks deluxe, and then you got the Time Crisis. Okay, let's break down, let's talk about Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious is the one, I'm skipping this song. I don't know what's up with that song. The Fast and the Furious, this is all about a manual leak. So, manual. A manual, there was an instruction booklet that showed a picture of the Fast and the Furious. This is on the brand new Deluxe cabinets that evidently got stolen from a container. Arcade1Up is looking into it, whatever. Fast and the Furious is coming. We know it's going to have more than one game. And we know it'll probably be in color. And this is just my crappy Photoshop of me just like literally painting the cabinet. Do you see this? I'm just like painting the cabinet to see what would it look like? What would it look like with color? And just to kind of give you an idea, it's not the best Photoshop work that I've ever done, but I think you can kind of get an idea of what it would look like. Last week we talked about this, and it was, hey, it's cool that it actually is shaped uniquely like the Fast and the Furious original machine. That's kind of cool. But here's the manual. That's the source. And then we're going to listen to this video. It's from the One Update show. And I want to key out this exact part. That's not what I wanted. I want to show this exact part because this is where they're talking about the Fast and the Furious in context. So let's check it out.
In the Deluxe cabs, which shouldn't have even been out, there was a page open in the manual, and it shows, ta-da, look at what's coming out, Fast and Furious. What the heck? This was not something that was on a lot of people's radar. Kind of came out of nowhere. Now there's a bunch of talk about it. What's the deal? Is that coming out like soon or something?
So, for titles we've yet to officially announce, we cannot yet discuss. However, if we were to say discuss a title that we've yet to announce, we would be doing so in the summertime of 2023.
All right, so clearly they're telling us that this is coming out in the summer of 2023. Also, want to point out that John D has the worst poker face ever. So probably while you're watching this, you were looking at David McIntosh because he's the person talking. But I want to play this again, and I want you to look at what John D is doing with his face, and I'm going to interpret exactly what he's thinking.
There was a page open in the manual, and it shows, ta-da, look at what's coming out, Fast and Furious.
Okay, so John D, first he's like shaking his head up and down. Okay, like we're getting into that topic. Okay, all right.
What the heck? This was not something that was on a lot of people's radar. Kind of came out of nowhere. Now there's a bunch of talk about it. What's the deal? Is that coming out like soon or something?
So, for titles we've yet to officially announce, we cannot yet
shaking his head.
However, if we were to say discuss a title,
notice how he gets really excited. And the reason why, I'll tell you why. This is new for David McIntosh to use this type of speech. However, hypothetically, this is something that very much John D would do for years. He's like, I'm not going to tell you the answer, but I'm basically going to tell you the answer. And the reason why John D is getting super happy is because it's very clear to me that DMAC is giving John D's talk track. This is John D talking, actually, not DMAC. This is DMAC saying what John D told him to say. Because David McIntosh is very reluctant to ever say anything about leaks. So John D is all like, no, we can kind of beat around the bush. David McIntosh, not so much. But the key thing is they're saying like, look, it's coming out. It's coming out this summer. They're letting the community know. Look at John D smile again one more time.
That we've yet to announce, we would be doing so in the summertime of 2023, most likely.
See the big smile?
In the deluxe cabs.
All right. That big smile is a big tell. We should play him at poker. He was like, have no poker face at all. Anyway, so that is the Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious is coming fast, and it's coming furious. It'll be available to purchase. What we don't know is what all games that will be on it. But I tried. So I had no part of this one update. There was no conversation that I had with Arcade1Up prior to this event. This is all Travis, 100%. Travis is lead of this one update show. And, he works with Arcade1Up behind the scenes. But I'm a moderator still on the Arcade1Up channel, like from when I was helping Arcade1Up. And I will tell you, during the live stream, if you were there, you may have saw Papa Brad. And can you believe the things that Papa Brad was saying in the chat? I was like blown away. Yeah, it wasn't Papa Brad. So I literally, because I had the wrench, I could click on it and go to his channel. It would tell me like, if you know what you're doing, you can click on it. It'll take you to the channel. And it was this person just kept on posting as Papa Brad. But it wasn't him. It was like a troll account. And every 5 minutes, it would be like yet another account. I just wanted to say that just in case people in the chat actually thought that was him talking. It wasn't. But I was in the chat, and I asked this question hypothetically about the final fight. Why did I say final fight? It's because it starts with an F. The Fast and the Furious. This is what I asked, and I'm glad Travis, he asked the question.
Hypothetically, if you were to release a new title this summer, how many games would it have? In other words, and look, let's answer the question. What is your minimum amount of games you typically are putting on a cab? That's a reasonable.
More than one. How about that? There'll be more than one.
Okay, let me nail you down on this, because there have been releases of expensive cabs with one game. Are you saying that is no more?
Wait, that's
okay. Obviously, what's going on here is Travis is trying to pinpoint him on like, so you're saying you're never going to do one game again where there's a cabinet with one game? Now, John has to think very deeply about that, because clearly Fast and the Furious is going to have more than one game. But he doesn't want to put it out there that they would never have one game, because then, well, who knows what's going to happen in the future? Maybe it would make sense in the future. And he's kind of looking up. I don't think there is a plan for any cabinet to have one game at this time. That's my guess, but he doesn't want to like say that it would never happen and then it does later.
Pretty general question. Are you saying
Well,
we're
Yes,
Well,
he's
you're
like,
like,
nah.
You said more than one. So what?
By the way, David McIntosh, I think when he's on these live streams, he's kind of maybe a little nervous. I think he's super professional. I've seen him in person, but I think he still has a little bit of nerves. But his reaction on this show was really funny. Like, and this is a technique. If you're doing any type of public speaking of any type, kind of like laughing at the elephant in the room or kind of imitating someone else can kind of help relieve that tension or that nervousness. So watch closely David McIntosh kind of overreact in a sarcastic, generic way.
released it?
You said more than one. So what's going on? Tell me.
Whoa. But he was just having fun with it. So what we can glean from that is we got the Fast and the Furious. This is what it is. It's going to look something like this. Of course, maybe more in color. Imagine the Outrun, but stand up, more Fast and Furious, more PS1-ish game eras, probably more than one game. And it's going to be uniquely shaped. What we don't know is the specific games, and what we don't know is the price. Now, I've been behind the scenes talking to other creators of making speculations of what do we think that price will be. And some people have saying, no, it's going to be $4.99 because Cyrus said everything coming out that's a deluxe is going to be $4.99. That's not what he said. He actually said basically all the legacy re-releases, all the cabinets that came out last year that are just like a re-release, those are going to be $4.99. And the Casino-cade, and we recently learned they got to change the name. I'm guessing there's some legal reason why, like, they can't trademark Casino-cade, or maybe that's a dumb name or something, so they got to come up with a different name. So that's been delayed based on whatever that is. So, and yeah, the bad guy Mike Worley, which, by the way, makes amazing content. Go subscribe to him. Makes funny content. I really love it. Every single video that he makes, I absolutely love. He says there's no way Fast and the Furious is $4.99. No, what we had heard is that they were going to go for $4.99 for your, kind of re-releases. Even if we learned, even if it has a new shape, this new deluxe, $4.99. But brand new things is going to have a brand new tax, about $100. So expect it minimum for $5.99. But I don't even know if Fast and the Furious is going to have only the $5.99 price. Is this going to be more like Tron and X-Men that were like $700? Like Ballistic Coffee Boy is saying, is it going to be $6.99? Probably. Is that going to be the thing? It was made by Raw Thrills. So all these things can kind of add up. But as Ralphie says, $2.99 6 months after its release. So its real price is probably $2.99. But then it's going to have an early adopters fee. It's going to have a brand new cab fee. And there's some people that, one, they have the money. And then there's other people that they just want it early, right? So you got to make your choice. For me, I typically like waiting behind. It's funny. I get called out for this all the time. But look at the evidence. Like last year, I made one review video. I don't think I made 99% of my content that I make is this stupid, crappy podcast every Sunday, where I just talk about stuff. I think last year I only did one review video, I want to say, and it was the one that they sent me. So I don't have desire to go pay full price for any reason. Pay full price because I don't like spending money. I was thinking about it. Why did I start YouTube? The very first YouTube video I ever created was with a good friend of mine named Jamie, and he's a deals guy. And our idea was to make content about Switch deals, and it was going to be a podcast with Jamie and Justin about Switch deals. And the reason is both of us share this collector's, can you get it for a cheap price? And Jamie taught me how to do all that stuff. In fact, the Arcade1Up website I created, the deals.consulkits.com, is inspired by the idea of Jamie saying someone should build a website that tracks all these things. And we were talking about doing that for a while. And I said, I think I'm going to build that site that we talked about for Arcade1Up and he's like, do it, man. It'll be so great. So anyway, this year for me, like, I'm waiting for the prices to come down. And then the second question, is the title something I actually want? I've been FOMO'd before, and it's possible. I got the Ridge Racer at a really low price. I was like, okay, I want to play with Ridge Racer. And how I think is there is a price that Arcade1Up can come down to, like your $299s or $199. I buy that. And then if I don't like it, I can sell it, and I'll get my money back. Like, that price of that $199, $299 is kind of like get to play with it price. And then if you don't like it, you can resell it. A lot of times I ended up keeping them because I'm like, man, I got it for like $299 or $199 or $50. So anyway, I just want to put it out there because I'm talking about all these cabinets that are coming out. I don't want to give anyone any FOMO in any way. I'd rather educate them on like the ways to think, how to persuade yourself not to buy something, maybe not get up into the hype. But I still enjoy talking about all this for sure. Let's see. So we got the Fast and the Furious. The next thing, let's talk about Time Crisis. So Time Crisis, we learned about, it was like 4 months ago. 4 months ago, Time Crisis, we got this leak. Now, 100%, I said this then, I'm saying it again. I think this leak was from Arcade1Up. I think this was the Manuel, right? The Manuel. Like, there was this guy. No one knew who he was. I could never hear anyone validate that this is this guy. But anyway, 4 months ago, Time Crisis was leaked. I think what they're doing is going back to redesign it. But this was like a deluxe. This is now what we would call a deluxe cabinet. Now on this, we're in Photoshop here. I did play around with what I think they're going to do. I think they could colorize that bottom part, you know, and make it kind of gray. I think that would be more authentic. And then, let's see, then throw a coin door on it, right? So we get a coin door on the Time Crisis. That might be a little bit better. But now I'm thinking maybe the new deluxe cabinets have a speaker grill. So maybe this would have a speaker grill on it. But, you know, they would have to make this cabinet look more authentic, you know? So will they add a speaker grill for that? Now, what games are going to be on that machine and what will the price be? So I'm going to lead you over to a clip from a video from B-Kong. B-Kong did this video about 4 months ago, and I 100% I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, unless Arcade1Up changed things last minute, about 4 months ago, there was good information out there that what I'm about to show you is accurate. And it's my belief that this is still accurate. Nothing is official until it's official. But do you know what that really means? Arcade1Up says that. What it really means is we reserved the right to change our minds right before, up until the point it's actually released. So as long as they didn't change their mind, I think this is accurate right here. So B-Kong, take it away.
I foresee 5 games on this gab. Time Crisis 1, Still Gunner 1 and 2, and Point Blank 1 and 2 are the Namco games that I think will run on this chipset. And there it is. So those.
There it is. So if you take a look at it, this is what you can expect. I'm trying to back up here. The Time Crisis, Still Gunner 2,
and Point Blank 1 and 2.
Point Blank 1 and 2. Now, I have access in my local area to Time Crisis 2, not Time Crisis 1, and Point Blank at an arcade. And both of them are a lot of fun to play. I think Point Blank is kind of like, feels like a Wii game a little bit, you know. I think kids would really, really enjoy it. But I think it's going to be, this one's going to be a weird one. For the Time Crisis to be good, yeah, the McDonald's, that's right. A lot of people say it kind of looks like the McDonald's cab. So for the Time Crisis to be a good release by Arcade1Up, it's all about the price, the design, and what actually games they put on it. So if on the Time Crisis they end up charging $6.99, $7.99, and it has these 5 games on it, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think there's some people that are really interested in hoping that Arcade1Up does come out with the Time Crisis, fixes the design, makes it a little bit nicer, but then They do some upgrades to the guns, like add a little bit more weight to it. And so what other improvements would you like to see? Yeah, that's right. No cooler, no care. That's good, JT Brunick. What other type of improvements would you want to see on the Time Crisis to get you to pull the trigger? I'm interested because I think this information will come out maybe in summer. Like, will there be at the same time the Time Crisis? And will we also get like Fast and the Furious at the same time? I think it'd be pretty interesting. Like, check that out. Like, if we get Time Crisis in the summer, and then we get these 5 games on a Time Crisis machine, and then with Fast and Furious is what I'm trying to say, both at the same time. And so I think there's some still options out there. Yeah, I'm guessing it's still going to be Sendin. I mean, I don't know for sure, but my understanding is they partner with Sendin, and that's kind of a long-term contract. And so far, every single leak of any game that they're going to come out that's a gun game, like the Sendin supports, right? Those are Sendin supported games. So I think that would still be the case. We'll have to see. All right, so the next one I want to talk about is the Capcom deal. We're gonna just we're playing for the replay, guys. We're trying to get as much content in a short period of time as we possibly can. So let's take a look at this next one. So here's an interesting one. The question is, will Arcade1Up come out? Let me start over. Will Arcade1Up come out with a Street Fighter like XL or Pro, or will they remain Deluxe? I can't imagine. I mean, I guess I can imagine some people call it the peasant version, the $299 without the light up marquee, no riser at Walmart. Maybe we'll get a next gen version of that, or maybe they still have Yoga Flames, because Yoga Flame came out in that cheaper $299 version. But what will we get? I'm going to show you 2 pictures of what are possible, and one of them is, it's not official until it's official, but at least one point it was official. So let's take a look at it. So this is the what if. I don't have any information of they do that. This is just using logic. But what if they re-release the Big Blue, but the Big Blue that they re-release is a Deluxe? Now, again, this is just Photoshop work that I did. It's just, I'm going to reveal everything right in here. All I did was I took the Big Blue and I added all these layers really quick. I'm not the greatest Photoshopper, but I can whip up a mock fast. I don't know, just like add some layers, stretch some things out, here we go. Let me add in all my experience for, doing this type of work is just making thumbnails on YouTube. And I've done enough thumbnails on YouTube that I got to the point where I could sit down in 20 minutes and kind of bust this out. But I wanted to point out something. I overlaid the Mortal Kombat 30th edition. Now, when I overlaid that Mortal Kombat 30th edition, I think I can show you. Let's see. Yeah, I added that as a mask. So if I disable the mask, yeah. Okay, so this is disabling the mask, and this is showing the Mortal Kombat edition lined up perfectly, lined up around that Big Blue. And you can see how the Big Blue is a little bit taller, and you can see that the Mortal Kombat, the Street Fighter edition is taller, is what I'm trying to say. But look at the Mortal Kombat. This is, as you probably know, but this is pretty cool to see it in a picture, is that the control deck is quite different between those 2 machines. So if they actually come out with a Big Blue Deluxe, I would expect the other thing they do is make that control panel taller, more like the Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe. So basically, this is trying to say it's very possible that if they re-release the Big Blue, it'll be more deck height of the Mortal Kombat. That just makes sense to me, is you basically combine those 2 things together. Is you say, we're going to do a streamlined Street Fighter 2 edition, but bring all the enhancements that are from the MK2 Deluxe and bring that to the Street Fighter 2. Now, I don't know if anyone would want this particular one. you know, like it's very blue. Like some people might call that plain. And it's a tough cabinet to reproduce as a 3/4 scale because it's going to be skinnier, right? It's not as wide. It's like as they made it taller, they didn't make it wider. And that's the case like almost, and when I say wider or deeper, I mean several inches. Like, yeah, they've played around with a few inches here and there, but as they made things bigger and taller, they really didn't zoom out the entire size of the machine. And I don't know, maybe they got some challenges there. Anyway, so that's option one for the Capcom. I have no clue if they're going to do this, but now I'm going to go into something that is more of a leak. It's more of a, at least at one point they planned on doing that. So I'm going to show you that. And that is a Street Fighter Pro. So this is, again, there's some Photoshop in here, but I'm going to unveil everything about the Photoshop about it. So I'm going to remove all of these layers, and what you're going to see is the original picture that I received. This is a picture of a Street Fighter Pro. And I received this from multiple people, multiple angles. All right, so I was working with Intech Gaming. Intech Gaming had a picture somehow of a Street Fighter Pro a year ago. And I did a members live stream and I showed it to the members. I was like, Intech Gaming sent me this. And the reason why is I'd been talking to Intech Gaming because I was trying to relate to them how the control panels, all the different arcade cabinets are different size. And they didn't understand that. Like literally they're like, no. Arcade1Up only has one control panel size. We're like, no, you're thinking about Gen 1. Gen 1 cabinets aren't even made anymore. So I had to explain to them, like, there's a Gen 2, there's a Gen 3, there's a Yoga Flame, there's all of these. We created a spreadsheet, mapped it all out. They kept on, they like literally like said, is this accurate? And I'm like, nope, that's not accurate. There's still other designs. And now they're starting to make products that allow you to make adapters for the different control panels. And so they sent me a picture. They're like, what's this cabinet? And I'm like, that's a Pro. It's not even out yet. How the heck did you get that? So anyway, I took that. Notice how there's a lot of reflections. There's a lot of reflections in John D's office, I take it. So I did overlay that to kind of give you a design, you know, added some black and lit up the marquee a little bit to give you an idea of what the Street Fighter Pro would probably look like. So KI, but more of that Dynamo look. But here's the thing. I don't know if they're going to do that. Since then, this is like a year ago, maybe more than a year ago. This is when like KI Pro hadn't even been announced yet. So are they going to do this? Or are they going to do an XL? Or are they going to do a Deluxe? That's the question. Which one of these are they going to do? But let's see. I think I have a video over here. Yeah, right here. So let's listen closely to kind of give an idea, give a clue. I don't know if you watched this. I didn't watch this whole thing, but there was a 4-hour live stream from Arcade1Up, and shout out to Zohar. He was like, you know, they basically talked about a Capcom edition coming out during that tournament. I was like, no, I didn't catch that. He's like, yeah, go listen to it. Check it out. So let's listen closely to what they have to say about a Capcom machine coming out. Here we go.
I didn't see a Capcom one. Are you holding out for something special? Because the Street Fighter people want to know where's their Deluxe?
You guys, like, I think you guys are smarter, you know? Like, what happened last year, UAG?
Well, last year you held out on the MK because...
All right, so I'm going to break it down, right? So John is doing that thing again where he doesn't want to answer, but he asks questions that will lead you to the answer. And this entire dialogue, you know, it's being asked, like, are you going to come out with the Capcom? And he's basically saying, like, well, what did we do last year? Let's continue.
I think it was because of the promotion of the movie, and
Right.
that came out a little later.
Okay.
You know, and then you also did the same thing with Big Blue. Like, you didn't do a legacy, but you came out with a special edition, Big Blue, that was basically a legacy. So,
It's basically a legacy. I think a little better than legacy, but yeah, you're right. right?
Almost a
So,
premium.
I mean, what company did I used to work for?
Capcom, you're very close to them. You know?
I mean, is there ever a world where Arcade1Up doesn't have a Capcom title in its lineup every year?
There we go. So there's the key right there. Is, you know, he's basically saying, of course, we're going to come out with a Capcom this year. They don't have a 2023 Capcom edition. And I want to check, is there anything more on that? Let me play it real quick.
So you read between the lines, guys.
I'm just saying, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say things to make me in trouble.
No.
But
We're just having a friendly conversation.
Yeah. Here's the thing. He's like, I don't want to say things that will get me in trouble. In other words, I would get in trouble if I just said, we're totally coming out with a Street Fighter in 2023. That's, come on, what is it going to be? It's either a Deluxe or it's an XL or it's a Pro. And so let's talk about that. If it's the XL or the Pro, what would, like I showed you in just a moment ago, this, I could see this being an XL or a Pro. The shape would probably be exactly the same. It's just, does it come with all that extra stuff? Does it end up coming with, you know, a stool, a mat? But maybe they don't put hapsticks in it. Maybe they don't do Sanwa, nothing like that. They just use the Baolane stuff that they have now, but they put like a 4-pound spring in it. Someone reached out to me, shout out to Andrew. He was talking to me the other day, and he was saying how he took apart the newer cabinets, joysticks, and was comparing the springs. And what he found was the newer cabinets simply have a 4-pound spring in it, and that's not something they had before. So that's probably why a lot of people are saying, ooh, these sticks feel a lot better. So could they get away with just making modifications to their current Baolane sticks, put like a good 4-pound spring in it, maybe more, I don't know, maybe they could give it more of a good Capcom feel. But the point is maybe that's something that Arcade1Up would do if it was an XL, because really, what's the difference between an XL and a Pro? Mainly the price. And so basically you can say it's an XL, and it's not going to have all that extra stuff, which a whole bunch of people say, I don't want. You know, I don't want the mat. I don't want the stool. And maybe they're like, why spend money on a better joystick if the consumer is just going to swap it out anyway? And so maybe you go with an XL for a Street Fighter. David McIntosh has said previously that they are not very good at making Pro Line anyway. That was something that he said in a previous update, where it was like, you know, what they're actually good at is making cheaper machines, and for that price point of under, you know, $299 or $499 depending on the model. And so, you know, it's very possible that they'll go, maybe we shouldn't push for $1,000 Pro, you know, because the expectation is going to be so high. There's not going to be any room for them to make any, you know, mistakes, or, you know, if it doesn't come with the best quality joystick. And to be fair, even if it did come with an amazing joystick, there's going to be a percentage of people that don't prefer that type of joystick and end up swapping to another one. So the point I'm making is, well, what if they did an XL, but the XL was like $599 or $699? I've been doing this thing, and I think it can apply here. Like, imagine Arcade1Up did make an XL, or they made a Pro, and you had an option to buy either one at exactly the same price. Which one would you buy? You'd probably buy the one that appears to have more value to you. And you probably wouldn't want to be wasteful, right? If they come out with a Pro and it has the stick you don't want, you'd be like, well, I'll just take the XL, you know, and then because I want to put this type of stick in it anyway. But, you know, it kind of just depends on what they end up putting in it, you know. Will the XL, if they did a Street Fighter XL, would it come with the Yamaha speakers? Or would they just say, you know what, we've refined the Deluxe sound and it's a lot louder. We put a better amp in it, just in the circuitry of the op amp in there is just better optimized. maybe you don't have to pay a couple $100 for Yamaha brand and all that extra circuitry when, their modification that they made on the Deluxe is good enough. And the other thing is maybe they put it out there and then you just don't buy it at the full price. You just wait for the price to come down. Now, I'm really curious about that when it comes to the Arcade1Up Pro Edition, because remember, we were seeing the Pro Edition, we were following that very closely. I think a lot of people in the community were. And then that Pro Edition went out of stock. Do you guys remember that? It went out of stock. And we were like, oh, they sold them. They sold them completely. Completely sold them. And now they're back. The KI Pro, if you wanted to buy it, it's available. You can add it to your cart right now. And so evidently, I don't know, maybe there was some backlash in the community. Looks like they have 100 of them available, because I did the thing where I said I wanted to buy way more than 100, and then it came down to only that 102. So if my memory serves correctly, a lot of us were covering this and closely watching they came out with 500, and then it got down to about 140 left, I want to say. Then it disappeared, and then time went by, and they re-put it on there, and I want to say there was like 130, and that's like a couple months ago. So they probably sold like 30 for $1,000 in the last few months. There's still 100 left. But it was KI, and it had all the KI problems. So are they going to go after that? But one thing's for sure, what you can learn from this episode is they're all in. They are all in on this Deluxe. And that's the title of this episode. Friends, don't let friends buy Deluxe. Now, of course, that's a comment or a comment from this guy, Overthink Gaming. I think it was pretty funny. Friends don't let friends buy risers. I think he's saying that because he's one of the people that bought that Killer Instinct. He's spent $1,000 on a Killer Instinct that does not come with a riser. But should you throw away all of your Arcade1Up machines because they have risers? Are they all of a sudden not valuable anymore? And to that, I go back to the very, very first comment in this video that started it all. And it's totally a non-issue for me. I play the games for the fun of playing. No one has ever come into my game room and said, gee, I'd love to challenge you at T2, but that riser, man. And that's the thing. I do think if given the option at the same price to pick machines, if I owned none and wanted to buy a set of cabinets, maybe I would choose the riserless. Sure. I'd choose the Deluxe. I think they do look better. I think the quality of these machines are better. But one thing I wouldn't do, and I'm not going to do, is the class of 1981 that I have already that I bought last year that comes with a riser. I'm not going to sell it just to upgrade it to the Deluxe when it's got the same games, the same buttons, and the same sticks in it. If you want to do that, that's cool. I could see a scenario where that works. Where you're like, look, I'm just going to sell the old one. Maybe I'll lose a little bit of money if you can get, maybe only lose $50. So I don't know. Are you able to sell the class of 1981 for $450? I don't know. That'd be kind of hard to do. But if you're able to do that and you're like, yeah, I'm going to upgrade because I want the Deluxe. Okay. But I think there's some people in the community that were like, they think like they hate the Deluxe because maybe they feel like if they bought one, they would want to buy them all because of OCD and things like that. But come on, man. Like, if you own enough home arcade products, your arcade is already got various shapes and sizes. I mean, I got a freaking Godzilla pinball machine next to a Legends Ultimate, right? I don't care that they don't go together. It's like, oh, that's the one I can plug a PC into and play, virtual games. And then that's just, an investment, a collector's item over here. A year ago, 2 years ago, I was super excited to own the Ms. Pac-Man, what is it called? It's like the Cabaret. I've owned it for a couple of years now, And now I'm like, I've had it for a couple of years. It's kind of fun. I've owned the Cabaret, and I thought I would never get rid of the Cabaret. But now I'm like, at the auction that's on April 1st, I think I'm going to bring it to the auction, not because I hate it, but just because, I'm okay with the arcade room being mixed of all these various items. CRT, got an LCD, got CRT arcades, got LCD Arcade1Ups. It's all variety. It's all fine. And so, I'll probably sell my Phoenix arcade and the Cabaret and the Ms. Pac-Man Cabaret. And I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's possible for me to trade up both of those machines. It's possible. Actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, it's actually very possible. I think I could probably get about, I don't know, $1,500 for those two machines. I think that Cabaret goes for about $1,000. The Ms. Pac-Man Cabaret that I have, I think its going rate is about $1,000. And I could upgrade to the class of 1981 for reals. It'd probably go for about $1,500. Like, it's an option. It's definitely an option. It's a possibility. But if there was a deal that came out later in the year for the deluxe version of the class of 1981, let's see, would I do it? Well, there's nothing for me to play with. And for me, I really like buying the Arcade1Ups, especially if they're like, ooh, this one's got online, but the other one didn't have online, or this one's got send-in, and ooh, I've never played Tron before, on a home arcade. Did they do it right? Like, the technical side of it, or just trying to like contemplate, maybe I could play with my friends or things like that, does make me think like, maybe that's why. But going from a class of 1981 2022 edition to a 2023, there's no difference in the PCB. So upgrading, I don't think that's a thing. But if a new game came out, like, I don't know, Time Crisis and Point Blank and Steel Gunner 1 and 2, like, maybe on that machine I would be interested in buying it because it's new. And did they make the guns heavier? And did they do a better integration? Is it a higher PCB? And is it available for $3.99 or $2.99 or something like that? Okay. Super chat from Console Fanboy. He says, Justin, I know it will be a deluxe to match the MK2 Deluxe. The Pro is way too risky. Deluxe is way safer. Expect the Deluxe. They want to test out the market with riserless first. Deluxe is 100%. That may be the smartest thing Zohar has ever said on any video. You half of you are probably reading this, you dislike Zohar. Sure, I get that. But imagine it was a comment from somebody else. Imagine Goofyfoot said this. So Goofyfoot says, Justin, it'll be a deluxe to match the MK2 Deluxe. The Pro is too risky. Deluxe is safer. Expect the Deluxe. They want to test out the market with riserless first. Deluxe is 100%. I buy it. It's pretty good. It's simple. It's actually pretty convincing. It's pretty convincing. Yeah. All right. So Clack says, maybe, Justin, you should look at the P3 pinball machine. When you get tired of a game, he's switched it out for another game and switch it back if it feels like he needs to. And yeah, they do the weird owl table. I have seen that. That is pretty cool. I'll check that out. I haven't thought about that in about a year. But here's the other thing: when it comes to pinball machines, there's a community here in the Des Moines area. There's probably a community in your area. I've been following that for a while now, kind of seeing what's available for sale. And even these auctions do have pinball machines. And so pretty excited about that. I'm getting to know more people in the area, more contacts, and on Pin Inside, there's like an online community there, and you can kind of see the other people that own pinball machines like in your local area, and starting to meet a lot of the different pinball dealers, some of the operators that operate some of the arcades as well. And getting to know them, like, you can buy a pinball machine, and really when you're buying that pinball machine, you now have an asset that holds its value, but you can also trade that for like other machines in your area. And I've seen opportunities. I got the Jurassic Park Pro, and there's literally someone who was willing to trade a Godzilla for the Jurassic Park. And I was like, what? Now, so I wanted to own that Jurassic Park, but if I wanted to like trade up in value, there's opportunities out there where you're like, I'm gonna take this machine that's not worth as much as this other machine, but this other person really wants it. Maybe they want to trade a little bit of cash in there, but you might be able to win on a couple of these trades. So anyway, if you get tired of a machine, if you're friends with different people in the community and you're trustworthy, you know, you can contact these different people in the community, and then you can do those trades. I wonder has that happened much in the home arcade scene? Has anyone here ever like traded a cabinet, like no cash, like didn't sell a cabinet, but you just traded it? Hey, JR, he's saying that he played the Foo Fighters pinball this week. What do you think of it? What do you think of it, JR? I had heard, who did I hear from? It was Kerry Hardy. He was saying that he played the Foo Fighters. He did a video on that. He said it was great. And then he didn't really like the Godfather machine. He said the game was basically boring. But I'm hoping to play it soon. I wanted to check with my Stern dealer in here in Des Moines, because when James Bond was not yet released, he said he would, if I wanted to, I could, the moment he gets it, I could come over to his shop and play it. And so I'm gonna check and see if he's got the Foo Fighters. He says it was awesome. That's cool, man. Yeah. Anyway, so that is a breakdown of this episode. If you have any more thoughts and comments, let's do a summary, guys. So in this channel, or in this video, I'm going to show a picture of kind of the 3 topics that we talked about. And for the next 10 minutes in the video, I'd love to turn the microphone over to you guys and hear what you have to say about, you know, I think this could be our summer lineup right here. I think this could be our summer lineup coming out from Arcade1Up. Out of these 3 cabinets, you know, and that middle one, maybe, I know. Here's the thing, Zohar. Now you got me think. Is it going to be a Big Blue Deluxe, or is it going to be more like just a Street Fighter Deluxe? Like basically, they'll take the Yoga Flame, throw the standard Street Fighter artwork on it, and just call it a Deluxe. You know, so basically or maybe could they do this? What if this is a Deluxe? What if they turn this into a Deluxe, so it looks like a Dynamo with that shape in the front and the way it's the everything about this, but it's just a Deluxe. $4.99, Deluxe size though, not a Pro. Anyway, so what do you guys think? Which one would you be interested? Are you interested in any of these? Are you out so far? Love to hear what you have to say. Let's see. Danny with the Robotron. See, I was gonna talk about that. Out of all the leaks that we've heard so far, there's no 80s leaks, right? Has anyone heard any leaks so far for this year that's 80s? This guy's making fun of my Photoshop skills. He says, I think you should get Photoshop instead of GIMP. But it is Photoshop. This is Photoshop. This is Creative Cloud subscription. It's not GIMP. Like, this is why do you think this is GIMP? Like, this is straight up Photoshop features. Is it because you just don't like my layout? Like, just the way I have it set up? I don't know. Like, see at the top right hand corner, this is Photoshop. About Photoshop. Photoshop 24. I don't know. Do you mean I should stop using Photoshop and I should use GIMP? Is that what you think? That's kind of weird. Oh, I see. He's just drunk. He says he's drunk. He's just drunk. He's just drunk. That's okay. You can be drunk and come join the show. I'm glad you got people to hang out with during your buzz. That's cool. Okay, let's see. We got some thoughts coming in here. I'm gonna have to scroll back up because I think. Are you getting any deluxe or any 1-ups this summer? So I have currently I have no plans on getting one. I can't tell you that I won't fall for the FOMO. Like, that's possible. It's very possible. When you have friends that also make content in 1-up, you exchange like, hey, I'm thinking about buying this because I heard about that, it's very possible. It's very possible. Currently, I have no plans. There's no deluxe that's came out that is pulling me in. But all it would take is my wife going, why don't you have any gun game? And I was like, well, Time Crisis is coming out. She's like, I'd love to play that. And then I would buy Time Crisis in a heartbeat. Like, that's definitely a possibility. Let's see. I want the Wheel of Fortune Casino-cade. Yeah, we heard that they're not going to call it Casino-cade. We're going to wait for that name change. I think Hubert and Smash TV is announced before the summer ends as well. Woo! That would be cool. Smash TV would... Okay, if there was a Smash TV Deluxe, I'd probably get that. That's a cabinet tone. I could get behind that. Street Fighter Deluxe. I'm not sure Big Blue did so well. That's a good point. I don't know if Big Blue did so well either. I would get Fast and Furious just because my wife hates the movies. That's funny. My wife absolutely hates the movie Pulp Fiction. She's like, it's not a good movie. And so when they announced the Pulp Fiction pinball machine, I didn't even tell her about it. There was no conversation about that because just last week she was talking about... Now, one of the reasons why she hates that movie is her brother tricked her into watching that movie and said the movie was a different type of movie. And so she went in, like, she felt tricked into watching that movie. And so it was like everything about that movie, it was a bad circumstance for her. JR says he would love to see Cubert, Castle Ranch, instant buy for me. See, I hope Smash TV comes with online play. Online play, Smash TV. Wow. Some big questions on all three. Fast and the Furious game list, linkable? Good question. Capcom, everything. Time Crisis, design. Yeah, it's good. Great question. So Time Crisis, they probably leaked that and were like, this is kind of what we're thinking. For the design, and then I don't think people liked it. And I think they leaked it on purpose to see if people would like it. There's probably people at Arcade1Up that were betting whether people would like it. And whoever bet, I think they'll like it, they got it wrong. The McDonald's came out. The cabinet's not a very good looking cabinet anyway. The Time Crisis 2, I think it's a better looking cabinet, but that's tough. It's a different system, and it's dual screen and all of that. Let's see. Fast and the Furious with linkable cabs means I gotta buy 2. Wow. Let's see. Time Crisis is a day one buy for me. I'm out of room. If I wasn't, I would get the Fast and the Furious cab. This year is about the 90s. Honestly, they need to focus on new games, I think. They are cannibalizing their own sales as Facebook market is flooded with cheap machines. There you go. Yeah, they can't. That's a good point. So what you're saying is, like, Arcade1Up is going to have a hard time selling new cabs when those same titles are available in the secondary market at a much cheaper price. It's pretty good. I would buy all and put a riser on them. Time Crisis will be fun as hell, but please be a 19-inch. I hope so. That'd be cool. Maybe Time Crisis, they went with an XL. We don't know. In for Street Fighter. I'm also interested in Time Crisis. Street Fighter 2 CE Deluxe, to be specific. Champion Edition Deluxe. One's mentioned. That would be the only thing I get. But at this point, I'd be getting my hero cabs. I'm only getting my hero cabs, Afterburner, Operation Whoosh, Wolf, WWE, or upgrading to Deluxe. Very cool. Stupid Fat Hobbit says WrestleFest will also be a Christmas blockbuster announcement. Oh, that's right. No, but I thought we heard WrestleFest is coming next year. Is that right, JT? Is Affinity Designer better than Photoshop? I'm going to write that one down. So, ooh, okay. I'll check into that, man. Appreciate that. I miss Street Fighter for my collection. So you're saying we're not getting another Pac-Man this year? Well, that's interesting because we were going to get a Pac-Man and a Ms. Pac-Man and a Clash in 1981. A lot of people are asking me whatever happened with the Ms. Pac-Man. I don't know. But my guess is maybe it's hard for them to put out 3 Pac-Mans at the same time. Maybe they hit their limit. I'm more interested in Fast and the Furious than Gasoline Pump because I already have a light gun with my AtGames device. Not really into fight and beat 'em up games. That's funny. Yes, Time Crisis does look like a gasoline pump. Wow. I guess I never thought of it about it. I don't know if you guys chatted about that before, but you're right. The Time Crisis does look like a gasoline pump. 100%. Will the price of the Joust cab ever drop below $4.99? More than likely. I think eventually everything goes down in price. We've seen most things go lower than $4.99. Most. I'll be 100. Thanks for the super chat. He says, I will 100% be a Dynamo Deluxe this summer. Fall will 100% be a Big Blue Deluxe, and spring 2024 will be an MVC2 Deluxe. They will never, ever stop. Let's see. What else we got? If they do a new Big Blue, I think it should be a red version so people who own the current. I don't know. I don't know if that's like something I'm supposed to know, but I don't know what current means. Is he also drunk? Can't remember. It's Urban Dictionary. Cringy? That's what it means? I don't know. Time Crisis makes me think Tekken is a possibility. Namco, right? And we know that that one guy, Travis MCP, really likes Tekken, and he's like a part of their beta program. He like does their show with them, so maybe. Would love to see WrestleFest. I think that's next year. And something else with unique controls. Hang on. Yeah, Harley Davidson, Afterburner, something with unique controls. Yeah. Down for that. Like, I think for me, like one of the coolest things that I like about the home arcade scene, and I have some regrets for this last year. I bought some cabs. I'll give you a list of cabinets that I bought that I regret buying, and that I wished I bought different cabinets instead. Because now I wish I had those cabinets. So basically, anything that I bought and then sold, I think I regret. I think I regret buying them. I mean, I had them for a time, so there's that. Okay, but let me talk about it. So the Golden TXL, I don't like that I bought the Golden TXL. I bought it and I ended up selling it. I sold it for about $300. It is what it is. I had it for a while. I learned that here's the thing, man, I'm thinking about RetroRGB. He's a nice guy, good friend. Been to his house, hung out with him multiple occasions. And here's the thing about, he has this saying. So those of you who don't know, RetroRGB has this website, and he has a podcast weekly, and it's great. So like right now he has an article that's talking about Voltar came out with a video. There's these like bricked Wii U's. So that's a lot of fear in the console gaming community where these Wii U's that have been, like unplugged for a while, they're bricked. They're dead. So you need to play them so they don't die. But Voltar came out with a solution, an $8 Pico, and can revive it. So anyway, he has all these articles on the website about retro gaming. It's been doing it for years. It's pretty fantastic stuff. Now, one of the things that RetroRGB says, he's been saying it for years. He goes, I love that there's all these options out there. You can play Super Mario Brothers in a ton of different ways. And for the most part, it doesn't really matter which way you do it as long as you're having fun. However, this is the key point. If you buy a product and have a bad experience with a game because that product caused the bad experience, he would say, I've heard a ton of people that tried to get back in retro gaming and because of that bad experience, gave up too early. And they had no clue that there's a community out there that will help people be able to play retro gaming in a higher quality format. Getting clean HDMI out from a console that's previously retro console, enhancing the quality and giving you a great experience on your LCD screen. Products like Analog, or FPGA products that recreate the circuitry of these retro gaming consoles in a way that are lag-free. That's good. So when I apply that to the Golden Tee Arcade1Up, the Golden Tee Arcade1Up gave me a bad experience. It wasn't the lag. It was that TN monitor that even when I'm staring straight at it, looking, my eyeballs or my face is towards the center of the cab, if I glance into the corner, it would already see, degraded quality in picture. And that frustrated me. Every single time I was playing it, I couldn't stop staring at it, couldn't stop thinking about it. So now I don't even like that game. Like, it gave me a bad experience. But that's the first time that's happened with an Arcade1Up product. I had low expectations for the very first model and to begin with, but then I was pleasantly surprised when they came out with BOE monitors, giving you this higher quality 960p out with a lower latency. Now, any of the latency issues that they have on their modern cabs are more about the chipset that they use and how they're connecting it online, and there's a lot of extra things that are going into lag. But that first generation, they had it really bad. But then that Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel Superheroes generation, basically Gen 3, that was pretty good. It was actually very, very good products those years. It didn't have online yet. It had an awesome monitor. The latency was about 16 to 14 milliseconds, which is pretty decent. Like, even to RetroRGB standards for latency on an LCD screen, a frame, as long as it's consistently just one frame, and that's what my testing found out on those third-gen monitors. It was nice quality. Some people complain they wanted 19-inch. I get that. But I didn't have a bad experience. And a lot of people didn't have a bad experience. A lot of people that did have a bad experience is they bought the very first Street Fighter and they had the expectations that the buttons and the sticks would be higher quality. Then they talked about the ghosting, the blacklight quality, and all this of that original Street Fighter, and they had a bad experience. But I'm telling you, that third gen, I think, was producing good experiences for a lot of people. And that is the reason why, maybe it was because of the pandemic, but their sales were great during that period of time. Now, maybe quality has nothing to do with it, but that seems like the golden age for home arcade was in that 2021 era. But now, after this last year, some of the quality, the Golden Tee, I regret that one. And so what I wish I would have bought was maybe a Tron, but people that bought Tron didn't like the stick. They made a mistake there. But having that unique cabinet, I'm telling you, I did not buy that Tron because that stupid video from Zohar saying it's just a night light, whatever. But now I regret it. I was like, man, Tron would have been really cool. And the reason why is because I would love to own a Tron, like a real Tron, but those are like $2,000, like for a real legit Tron. And if you find one cheaper, that's rare. And if you find one cheaper, you might have to do some repairs on it. And so spending $2,000 on a single arcade machine, man, if they do Tron again and they have a better stick, maybe it's deluxe and it's only $400 or $500, that's a good monitor. I mean, that beats spending $2,000 on a machine. Yeah, spending $2,000 would mean you own this collector's item, and there's something to that. You get to hold a machine that's a part of gaming history, that you get to wonder about how many coins went through that machine and how many children played that original Tron machine, and you have that. That's cool. That's pretty cool. You don't get that with Arcade1Up. But if you just want to play the games and have a good experience, when they get it right, they get it right. When they get it wrong, they give those bad experiences, and that sucks because that causes people to move away from the community. That causes people to dislike Arcade1Up because of their quality issues. They have those bad experiences and they just leave. Just as it's true when someone tries to build a retro console and plug it into a crappy LCD screen and it has 5 frames of lag because the companies that make LCD TVs put a crappy scaler in the TVs most of these days now. And some are getting better, but for a decade there, the upscalers that are in machines had a ton of latency. You know why? Because no one used them, so they just threw junk in there. And they didn't know there was this thriving gaming community that wanted higher quality. So people have bad experiences and they just leave. It's the same. It's the same. Thank you so much for the super chat from Jurassic Raid. He says, any chance there will be an Arcade1Up Hydro Thunder or Rush cab? Because I want to see more racing cabs. It was said in the past that Arcade1Up planned on doing one racer per year and one shooter per year. That could be still the same, but I don't know. I think Arcade1Up is going through a rough time right now. They laid off people. I think post-pandemic, there's a lot of companies that are challenged. Definitely, I mean, their product depends on international shipping. Their product depends on part supplies. They're basically a media product. Their majority of their money probably comes from United States buyers. I'm guessing. I guess most of their sales are Walmart, right? Target here in the United States. And I had heard, I don't know if this is true, but I had heard Walmart stopped carrying Arcade1Up cabinets because people were stealing them. Like Walmart changed their security policy and it made it much easier for people to just walk into stores and just take an Arcade1Up cabinet and walk out. And so Walmart was like, we're just like losing money on some of these because some of them are just being stolen. And so I don't know if that's just a incorrect narrative or someone guessed it, but it sounds interesting. Anyway, so will they come out with these other cabs? I think it depends on how well the health of the company is. And it might just be the health of the industry, right? Like, will products that are in entertainment or they're high commodity products, these are products that cost $500 to $1,000, is the market still healthy for those type of products? Maybe. I don't really know. I think if it thrives, then we will see things like Hydro Thunder and Rush. Sure, that would definitely be in the pipeline of products that Arcade1Up would come out with eventually in the next, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. It could be that they don't survive that long. I don't really know. And if they don't survive, my question is it Arcade1Up that doesn't survive, or is it just simply the market that doesn't survive? Like, given any company is there a market for a $500 to $1,000 product now when there's already 3 million of these products in people's homes? People are running out of space. People are spending a lot of money, and they're like wondering whether they should continue to spend money on it because they've already spent thousands of dollars in this hobby. Are they satisfied? Their cup is filled, perhaps. And so I think there's a lot of challenges that Arcade1Up has. There is, I don't dismiss that there's a lot of new people in the community that have never, this is their first cabinet, their third cabinet. And so they have opportunities to buy cabinets that are on Facebook Market, offer up at a discounted price. It's just a different market for them. So there's still new people coming into this community of home arcade. There's also some people that are exiting the home arcade scene. And there's some people that, there's companies that are not doing as well. So we'll see. I'm excited to hang out for the ride for sure. And I'll buy what I find interesting. And I'll cover what I find interesting in the hobby as well. Hey, Adam. Crazy Taxi. I know. Crazy Taxi. I talked about that on a podcast. That I was going to do this video. I actually planned it like 6 months ago. It was called, I have this crazy idea about Crazy Taxi. That was like the name of the video. I'll go ahead and explain the video. Crazy Taxi. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Crazy Taxi, this crazy idea that I have about Crazy Taxi. So as you know, Crazy Taxi is a game that Arcade1Up could come out with. Why? Because it's a Sega game. Now let's break down this game. What is the biggest challenge that Arcade1Up would have for coming out with a Crazy Taxi? Well, I can name two off the top of my head, and one is the music. That is going to be a huge challenge for Arcade1Up because one of the best things about Crazy Taxi is all the music that was inside it, and be able to get the license for all these different songs that we're going to want is definitely going to be a challenge. Let's table that just for a second because I have an idea of how they could solve that challenge. The number two thing is the actual processor of this machine. It's going to require them to have a higher quality chip. And the question is the time right? Will Arcade1Up purchase the right PCB in this economy to be able to come out with Time Crisis? So it's possible that we won't see a Time Crisis. Crazy Taxi. I'm drunk. I'm sorry. Crazy Taxi. We won't see a Crazy Taxi because the timing is just not right. You know, the economics is not right for a Crazy Taxi. Let's go back to the way they can get around the licenses for the songs. Now, hear me out. What if this is the crazy idea of how Arcade1Up could come out with a Crazy Taxi? Don't include any of the music. Okay, so hear me out. Don't include any of the music that you would have to get licensed. Just make it where it has like, Creative Commons licensed music. So you find some bands that are willing to donate some of their songs to Crazy Taxi. Now, in the chat right now, I would love to hear you. Is this a dumb, crazy idea, or is this a good, crazy idea? So imagine you get your Arcade1Up Crazy Taxi, and you go to play the game, and instead of hearing, yeah, nope, you hear some indie band, and you're like, what is this indie band? It needs to be Offspring. Oh, you want Offspring? Go get a thumb drive. Go put MP3s on the thumb drive and stick it into the machine. You can bring your own music. And whenever the game starts, it simply reads the songs that you already own and says, which song do you want to play in this game? And you already own Offspring. So you're like, yeah. That's my crazy idea about how Arcade1Up could come out with the Crazy Taxi, and you would still be able to listen to all of your favorite songs while playing that game. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Anyway, so that's the video I never made. But I was going to make it like six. Yeah, here we go. What about a Spotify stream? Now, I think I don't know if they would ever do that. Or ever do any sideload music type of thing. But I think they might be able to get away with the MP3 idea, because they're just like, we're just enabling you to be able to bring your own music while you're playing this game, but they're not embedded in the game. They're not really a part of the gaming experience. Like, basically, if you go into the menu and choose play from thumb drive, they won't queue up any music. They're basically going to tell the ROM to not have any music, but just have the effects. But in the background, there's just another process that's just looping through all your songs that are just on the thumb drive. That's it. And so imagine they market it and they're just like, Crazy Taxi, bring your own music. We got a couple of people saying it's a great idea. I don't know. I was thinking about it, I don't know, like 6 months ago, and I was like, it's an idea that I had, and I was like, maybe they could get away with it. Because the hard part would be, you'd want to get those original licenses, and I think it would just be, there's so many different great songs, like, or maybe did they just only do the, to be honest, if they only added the Offspring song, I'd be happy. I don't know about you. That's the song that I loved playing on Crazy Taxi. There you go, especially if the cab had good speakers. Crazy Taxi is the driving game that is really best playing standing up. Yeah, I played that last year, and it was very comfortable to play. It was a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed playing the arcade version of Crazy Taxi. And I played Crazy Taxi a ton, and then the Crazy Taxi clones. I played that a lot with my wife. We loved it. Like, we loved playing that game. For years we played it. Like, every weekend we played Crazy Taxi. It was like our game. When we first got married, like early 2000s, I want to say. And but then I started playing it in the arcade, and I played it only a handful of times. But I felt like that was like super enjoyable. Like, it was to the next level enjoyable. Crazy Taxi Arcade. And so when I started playing that, I was just like, man, I think I said this in a podcast episode, just a couple weeks ago. And I'm on the lookout for a Crazy Taxi Arcade. And the problem is they are expensive, and then they're not available in my area. So when buying a full-size cabinet, if I can't find it locally, then I got to pay shipping. And so I've talked to a couple arcade dealers, and they'll be like, yeah, I can get you a Crazy Taxi for $2,500. What they're really saying is they're going to ship it, and then they got some they got some fees on top of that, so they make a profit. And so if I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that all myself, well, I still got to pay all those same fees. I got to find someone, and then I got to pay, like $500 on top of that to get it shipped here. And I don't know, like, maybe that's something that I'd want to do, but so far I haven't even had the opportunity to do it. So because I haven't really had the opportunity, I haven't done it. But I definitely, that's one of them. That's one of them I'd really, really love to get. Really love to get. And I'm super excited about this next year. I'll tell you, like, this weekend was fantastic. So I got Godzilla. It came in the pinball machine. I'll tell a quick story about it. And I was determined to get it into my basement by myself. It means a lot to me to try to crack that puzzle. I mean, I have friends that can come over to help. And I think I've told you guys on a podcast, there's this guy that will come over and help for hours, move things around for like $300. Arcade machines. He's an operator in the area. But I started saying to myself, well, I want to be able to do this myself, because it's not about buying cabinets and then getting into my basement. It's about being a part of the home arcade and arcade community, in the arcade community in my local area. So that's not like, I can't depend on paying someone every single time I want a machine, just as much as I can't depend. I don't want to pay for shipping on every machine I would want. It's another reason why the home arcade scene is so easy. It's like, well, the free shipping, right? So did you get the stair climber? I did not. So the stair climber, about $1,600 for the stair climber. I'll tell you what I did get though. So I have a dolly that I got from like Costco for about $150. It's a 2-in-1. And my problem is I think maybe I've been reluctant to be able to try a different dolly because I already have one. And so I knew I was going to Harbor Freight because I have 4 pinball machines now. And I got to the point where I was like, hey, I'm going to have to buy the hydraulic table. You know, I got the Godzilla coming. I want to be able to level it. And the Jurassic Park was pretty hard to level, you know, without any... I was able to do it. Like, it just takes time. But if I want to move anything around my main area, I'm going to need to get this. So I bought this. This is the 500-pound capacity hydraulic table. Now, I told you earlier, like, I don't want to spend money on shipping, but keep in mind, I spend $250 and I get to use this over and over and over and over again. So I spent about $40 extra to get that modification to be able to make it where you can take this lever and it, you know, has a hinge on it, and it's a really nice hinge. Actually, I'm waiting for a couple Amazon parts to come in. They probably came in by now, actually. And so I should be able to have everything to be able to make this a pinball mover. But while I was at Harbor Freight, they had this dolly that I bought. And with this dolly, let me see if I can find it. With this dolly, I was able to get Godzilla down into my basement just with this dolly. So I didn't get the 4-in-1. I got the 3-in-1. So the 4-in-1 didn't really add anything that I thought I needed. So basically, I have a dolly now that does this. It allows you to lay it down like that. It's a 2-in-1. You can do this or you can do that. And so this is how I got Jurassic Park down in my backyard. I put it on the dolly like this, and I just went over the grass. And it was tough terrain, but I did it. It was not a big deal. There was no big hill. It was just kind of hard. I had to literally go into the neighbor's yard and up their driveway and around, but no big deal. That was Jurassic Park. With Godzilla, it was brand new. And so while I was at Harbor Freight, I got this other dolly. I did buy it. Where is it at? It's the 3-in-1. There it is. So I got this 3-in-1. And they had a special deal, so I got it for $149. I became a member, blah, blah, blah. But it has this mode. So I put Godzilla just like that. Instead of laying it completely down, imagine a pinball machine being completely down like that, which I could have done. But I was afraid of it kind of tipping over and scratching as I'm going through the concrete and through the grass. So I did the pinball machine like this. And it was no problem at all. Not a big deal. And so now I'm all like, what I haven't done is tried to do an arcade around like a full-size arcade, or I've always gone up and down this left side of my house, which has like a pretty big hill, but it's got stone blocks. So that's risky because it's steep. But I've got the play choice down like that. But it wasn't, I had help. A buddy of mine came over. And again, I could call my buddy, but I want to be able to do it myself, because if I want to go to these auctions and like, oh, you know what? I'm going to trade this. I'm going to trade that. I don't want to spend money or owe a favor to a friend or whatever, you know, buy him pizza. Like, I just want to, I go out with my friend, the same friend that would help me. We go out to eat and there's no strings attached. We just go have fun, right? When I invite my friend over to my house to play games, I just want to play games. I don't ever want to be like, hey, can you help me move? Like, I used to do that. And I'm not calling out anyone, like, if you like help your friends move, whatever. But last time I asked a couple people to come over and help me move. My brother-in-law looked at me and said, he was sweating. He's a kind of a big guy. He was sweating and he was helping me move. We were moving a, I don't know, like a dryer or something. And it was tough work for him. And he looked at me kind of jokingly, said, never ask me to help you move again. And maybe he was joking, but I was just kind of like, Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't ask my friends to help me move anymore. Like, it's a lot of work. Yeah. And he was family. So I was like, you know what? I'm never going to ask people to help me move anymore. I'm just going to move myself or hire some movers. And then when I hang out with my friends, we're just going to do fun stuff. So then, we're just going to do fun stuff. Invite them over to play the video games with me instead of helping me move video games. Anyway, it's probably a weird reason. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Really excited. I got it downstairs. I got to level it. Then I'm going to do some playing. And then I've been messaging Michael B., the Game Genie, teasing him that I have a Godzilla before him. And he hates me right now because I'm not really teasing him, but I did tell him I got it. And I told him I would not play it until he gets his, which he gets his tomorrow. I'm like, I won't even touch it. And he's like, no, Justin, go ahead. I'm like, okay, I will then. Yeah, I have the ratcheting straps for the hand truck. They're not built into it, but I have and that did really help. So I got it locked down. But now I have two dollies, and so they're both the same height because it's the same brand. So now I'm working out how to get. I have the Star Wars Episode 1 Pinball 2000 and the Revenge from Mars. They're still in my garage, and I think I can get them down the basement myself. I'm gonna go with just this dolly, but I'm thinking of doing it flat, and I might do two dollies. I don't know. I'm still working out. Like, one idea is to strap the two dollies together and have something in between them, and then put the pinball machine. And I have a fenced-in backyard, but I installed the fence when we bought the house, and so I put it's got a big door on it. Like, I specifically, I knew what I was doing when I put that fence in. I put a 6-foot wide door on my fence, even though it's totally not needed. But it was because there's a shed in the backyard and there's a walkout basement, and I needed to be able to get whatever I want back there. And on both sides of the house, I put that 6-foot. I think one's 4 foot, one's 6 foot. Is that right? Maybe they're both 4 foot. Maybe I did 4 foot, but it's not. It's big enough. It's big enough where $2 can fit. Is my point. Anyway, so every time you say dolly, is your is your dog named Dolly? That's pretty good. What do you think about it? I haven't played it yet. So I mean, I've played Godzilla a lot. I don't buy any pinball machines. So Revenge from Mars is the only pinball machine that I haven't played 100 times before buying it. And Foo Fighters, I put a pre-order on it. I've never played it. But everything else I've played over 100 times before I bought it. Godzilla is great. Got over 100 million on that. Got over 100 million on Jurassic Park. I mean, I'm still working my way up, try to get into the higher scores. But, I haven't played in a tournament, but I've watched a couple tournaments. And when I get scores that are in, the entry to medium area of a lot of the people in my area, like I think I'm doing okay. And I'm getting better every week. So I'm really excited about it. I told the other content creators that I'm friends with that I'm going to be practicing every single day to get better at pinball, because in September, we're going to do a tournament in Cleveland. And I think B's going to win no matter what, because that guy's, I don't know, he's super competitive, and he's actually really great at basically everything. But I think I can get second place if I work hard enough. So that's my plan. And I told this to Mike. I was like, there's something special about pinball. And when I first started buying arcade cabinets, the arcade dealer told me, you're going to get into pinball. It's inevitable, he says. You either get out of the hobby early or eventually it leads to pinball. He goes, all roads in the home arcade hobby lead to pinball. And I dismissed him. And then I was playing, in the back of my head, I'm like, is he getting to me? Is he getting to me? And I think he got to me, but here's the idea. You guys probably know Michael B. the Game Genie, and he'll talk about this, where he'll go down in the basement, he'll go, there's nothing like turning your brain off and playing a good beat 'em up. And when I play pinball, I have 2 modes. There's, okay, hold on, 3 modes. So there's 3 modes of pinball for me. There's, I'm not trying to win, I'm trying to maneuver. So that's one mode where it's specifically I'm trying to get the ball to drain so that I can stop it from draining, right? By moving the cab, just that millimeter, just that fraction amount to just get that table to move so I can catch it. Or I'm practicing like, you know, dead flips and dead catches and trying to pass the ball to the other. It's like I'm training, I'm practicing. So that's one mode. And that's fun. Like I enjoy the practicing. Like I don't care about the score. I'm just doing the moves. I'm like, okay, I'm going to just try this over and over and over again. So that's just getting better at it. The second mode is straightforward. That's just playing the game. You're just trying to get a high score. Okay, so that's mode 2. You're like learning the game and you're trying to get a good score. And as you're trying to get a good score, you might start to play different modes of the game where you can unlock like double points and triple points and all that. Each game is different. So you're learning the game, but your goal is to get a high score. And you'll play over and over and over again until you finally get like 50 million again or 100 million again. Okay. Then the third mode is similar to Michael B. the Game Genie's mode of playing beat 'em ups. And that's turn your brain off mode. And so when you see me in the chat on the various content creators, I'm either sitting in my car waiting for my daughter to come out from dance, or I'm standing in front of my machine and I'm playing with my mind off. And you'll see me chat, and you won't see me chat often, and it's because I'm in between a game. Like I just lost, I drained, whatever, the bonus came up, and I say something rude and funny or whatever and send it out. And I told this to Mike. I was like, I tapped into your beat 'em up play without really thinking, but I'm also listening to podcasts. And it could be home arcade or otherwise. And I've effectively recreated the full arcade experience that I see at real arcades. It's dark. The lights are off. It's black around the walls. I have a beer, and often I'm listening with earbuds to a podcast. And when I first got Jurassic Park and I got that all mode set up, I was like, I can either go to Uptown, downtown Des Moines, or I can just go to my basement. And when I'm standing in front of that pinball machine, I don't know where I'm at. I know that I'm in my basement, but I can't really tell that I'm in my basement. I might as well be at that arcade. It's crazy. And maybe you've experienced that in different ways, but there's definitely something there. There you go. I turned my brain off during live chat. But I'm very happy about that. And I think it's that mode of, I don't know, turning your brain off and just like, I don't know, having fun. I think it's better than grabbing your phone and just swiping forever on Reddit, TikTok, or even YouTube. So I really enjoy that. Let's see. Will you be at Cleveland Gaming Classic that Thursday, September 21st? I fly in Thursday morning. Anyway, so we're running up almost 2 hours on this show. We're heading up to an hour and 40 minutes. Wasn't really planned to go more than an hour. Kind of got lost in the conversation with myself. You were listening, I guess. But I appreciate you guys so much for coming to hang out. Stay safe. Stay positive. Try to be a leader in this community by being positive with other people. This is just as much as your community as it is mine. Don't listen to the trolls. Don't listen to the liars that make content. Listen to, I don't know, whoever you feel is giving you motivation, inspiration, and is encouraging your hobby and keeping you mentally healthy. Appreciate everything. Terrific show. However, by running long, you had more interaction with the folks in the chat. That's true. And I'll try to do better next time. Maybe I could do my monologue in 30 minutes and then 30-minute focus on the chat. Been playing around with that a couple different ways. Anyway, take care, guys. Have a great week. I hope you have a lot of fun with your home arcades, with your pinball machines. Check in your area to see if there's any fun communities. I know my plan in the next few months as I get better in pinball, I plan on joining some of the local tournaments and grabbing a beer with a group of people and trying to get some high scores. But, you know, YouTube is fun, but don't forget there's real people out there. I'm not saying that to judge you. I'm saying sometimes I'm just always at home and I need to get out. That's what I'm saying, all right? I got to go have dinner. You guys take care. We'll see you on the next one.